You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome to the program, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. We're going to talk about Fetterman in just a bit, but I want to talk here in the beginning just for a few moments about the movie My Son Hunter, which I saw this morning. You know, I got up at 2 a.m. this morning because I wanted to watch the movie because I got a very busy day today, and I knew that I would not be able to watch it today just because of time. I got a bunch of stuff I got to do today. And
you are dedicated.
Yeah, and I figured tomorrow, because the movie debuts today, tomorrow, a lot of people will have seen it, and if people call me on the show, I want to have been able to see it. And I also thought that if I got up and did my show prep like I normally do, and then when I was done, I watched the movie.
How long is the movie?
It's about an hour and 30-something minutes. It's not that long. And I also thought that, well, maybe it'll be hard to get the movie downloaded. You know how it can be when a lot of people go for something. So it'll be easy now. So I got the movie and I watched it. And
Excuse me.
I'll tell you, I like it. But I'll talk a little bit about the movie. But I've been getting a lot of messages from people. And they're like, well, why would I want to watch that? I already know all this stuff. Why would I want to watch that? And I've gotten that comment from a lot of people on DMs, emails, comments on YouTube, on Twitter, everything. And here's the thing. They act like it's being put out by Hollywood. A movie about the criminal Joe Biden and his hooker-addicted, drug-addicted, corrupt son that's his money mule is not put out by Hollywood or any leftist, okay? It's put out by Breitbart. And Andrew Breitbart, who sadly we lost many years ago, is a great man, and he started.
Could you imagine
this trend.
Andrew Breitbart in the world of Trump? What that would be like?
If Andrew Breitbart were
that
alive,
would be amazing.
Oh yeah. Now I want to say this to you, okay? This is a big deal. There's this new wave of conservative filmmaking that's coming out because of the technology and the platforms. This is the first film that I know about from Breitbart. Ben Shapiro, got some issues with Ben Shapiro, but he's that movie he did last year with Gina Carano. He did a Western, then he did that other movie, Run, Hide, Fight, about a school shooting, which was amazing. You know, there's this new group of conservatives. We may not agree with Ben Shapiro. You know, Ben Shapiro's a never Trumper, okay? I'm not a big fan of his, but he's putting out movies. Breitbart, they're putting out movies, and we should support them. Mm-hmm. And he no longer is, but Steve Bannon was with Breitbart for a long time in a senior position. Do you think it's just a coincidence that he is being arrested in New York the day that the Breitbart Hunter, even though he has nothing to do with it because he's not there anymore, but he used to be, and he was a leader over there. I don't think it's just a coincidence that Steve Bannon is being arrested in New York today, the same day that My Son Hunter is available. It is connected.
I agree.
And some of it is not, and I'm not saying just because he was with Breitbart, they don't want him on his platform, the War Room, promoting this movie. So I think everyone who can. So
he's arrested today?
He had to surrender himself in New York.
Today.
So, yeah, something to do with those charges that President Trump pardoned him on that fundraiser for the wall, but they were very vague about the charges.
Well, I think what happened is he was pardoned federally, which is what a president can do, and now they're charging him the New York DA who's after Trump. Now he's being charged with state charges.
Well, let me tell you,
which the president cannot
to me,
pardon.
That seems like if that's what they're doing, that's a runaround. In the Rodney King beating, the cops were acquitted, and then H.W. Bush won, Bush 41. He went after them federally after they were acquitted.
Yes, this is in reverse.
But anyway, you know, this thing. Why would you're not supporting Hollywood when you watch this movie, and it's available online at mysonhunter.com, and they're not paying us to promote or advertise them. But I think it's important to support these conservative filmmakers that are making movies that no one else will. Now, I'll say this about the movie. It's not a perfect movie, and it is low budget. I was reading one review today attacking it because it's low budget. I'm sorry that it's low budget. It's hard to get funding for something like this. But if My Son Hunter makes money,
the next one will be better.
The next movie that Breitbart makes, they'll be able to raise money because people will get their money back.
They need to show an interest. They need to show
exactly
that people want to see these kinds of films. And that's why it's important. Like you said, it's like $10, $20. It's nothing. So even if you don't watch it, which you should, just support it anyway, because then there'll be more content and things will be more movies exposed.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's important to support this movie, My Son Hunter.
How is the guy who played Joe Biden, John James, one of my favorite actors from Dynasty?
There are four main actors in the movie, right? John James from Dynasty.
He's great.
Who was like the young hunk on Dynasty.
How does he look? Because he was so handsome.
He looks the same, just older.
Yeah.
He's Joe Biden. He's fantastic. Gina Carano, she's always good. She plays a female Secret Service agent. And the guy that plays Hunter, I forgot it was an actor. It's like it's watching Hunter Biden. And the main character, though, really, the story's kind of told through a new actress that I've never heard of before, who is Hunter Biden's hooker that he picks up in the beginning, and she's with him on this adventure telling the story. And it's very good. It's not a perfect movie. There are some things that, I would like to have seen them not put in the movie. They do one thing that I don't really care for in the movie that should have been edited out, but they may have had reasons to do this. And I was telling Kathy, some of the things in the movie, they may have had to do some cameos and have people in it because
they funded it.
People donated money to make the movie, so they had to be in it. The first scene, it's Joe Biden swimming in front of this lady Secret Service agent, and then in the swimming pool at night because he's a creeper. And then it goes to these white Antifa girls at some BLM event burning down a city with Antifa, and it was very odd. They were not professional actors. They didn't fit in with the quality of actors that all these others are, and it was very odd. And there was a couple times in the movie where they went to these news people that just were not. You could tell they're not real actors. Okay, I'm not an actor. I wouldn't want to be in this film speaking. I wouldn't mind being like in the background.
Right.
But so I don't know why that was in. I would have cut that out. So it's not a perfect movie. Okay, this is not the greatest movie ever made. But it tells a story that no one else would tell. And it's important to support My Son Hunter. So there'll be another movie. This is groundbreaking stuff. And the actors and people that publicly get involved with this movie, they're blacklisted now in Hollywood. They're not going to work in Hollywood anymore.
Yeah.
So they need our support. So these people that are saying, "Why would I watch that? Why do I want to see it?" And someone called me on the radio yesterday and says, "Well, what's in it that we don't know?" And I said to her, she's like, "Well, we know everything." That really burns me when people say that. We already know. And I told her, I said, well, would you say to Steven Spielberg, well, why make Schindler's List? We all know about the Holocaust.
Right.
It's important film when there's something, whether it, Schindler's List is amazing movie, and it made the Holocaust. We all know it was terrible and everything, but the film we see of it is not the greatest. And Schindler's List, even though it was black and white, like the Holocaust footage, made it more real to people than anything. And this movie, I think, puts a lot of things in perspective. So I hope you all go and see My Son Hunter and call me on the radio this week and let me know what you think about it. And try to get your friends, your MAGA friends, to watch the movie too and support it. Really need, I think they would have, if Breitbart were alive, it would be a bigger spectacle. It didn't have. There should have been. They had a big event. They had a private screening in Hollywood a few days ago with some Hollywood conservatives like Dean Cain and some people. They should have had a more high-profile event for the movie premiere. They should have done a real movie premiere with a real red carpet and made it and invited all of the
instead of doing. The problem is those people don't want to be out.
The people in the movie do.
No, but the people that would go to that film, a lot of them live in secret.
No, but they could have invited.
No, you wanted a red carpet, so I'm saying a lot of the
people that don't want to be seen don't go. But they could have invited all the YouTubers and TikTokers and Instagram people that wanted to go and get a buzz going online about it. I wish they would have gotten more buzz about it online. I'm a little frustrated about that, and I kind of feel like I'm the only person that's seen it today. You saw it very early.
I did
at that
hour of the day.
I know.
watching movies.
Well, I know that's kind of crazy.
Nobody gets up at 2 a.m. unless they're, just to watch a movie.
No, it's not just to watch a movie. I wanted to watch it so that I could promote it and talk about it on the radio this morning, and I go live at 6 o'clock in the morning. So that's when I had to see it. Plus, I just don't think I would have had time to see it today. So anyway, guys, mysonhunter.com, and then get in touch with me and let me know your thoughts on the movie. Okay, so Fetterman in Pennsylvania. Yeah, I got to tell you that I feel bad for the guy. He had a stroke, and his stroke is not a laughing matter. He gave a speech to a small group of union thugs yesterday in Pennsylvania. I'm going to play you the exchange. His brain is not working. He's got severe damage from this stroke that he had. Remember at the primary, he had a stroke. Was it primary day that he had this stroke? I think it might have been.
Yeah, he was in the hospital.
Yeah, so listen to this. This is Fetterman talking to these union thugs, a small group of union thugs, at this speech he gave in Pennsylvania yesterday.
Please understand the stakes in this race. Send me to Washington, D.C. so I can work with Senator Casey and I can champion the union way of life in D.C.
In Jersey. I mean, he wants to be the senator from Pennsylvania and work at the Senate in Washington. Where's Jersey come in?
Thank you very much, and it's an honor. I live 8 minutes away from here, and when I leave tonight, I got 3 miles away, Dr. Oz in his mansion in New Jersey. You've got a friend, and you have an ally. Send me to Washington, D.C. Thank you very much. Thank you, Steelworkers.
I mean, he can't put his thoughts together, and you know what I'm wondering now that I play that? He's so in with the unions. Maybe Jersey's where the mob is that runs the unions in Pennsylvania.
No, he had Jersey on his brain because Oz lives in Jersey.
Yeah,
apparently.
he's confused because of the stroke.
Yeah, he's confused. He's struggling to put sentences together, and he's like Biden. I think he actually sounds worse.
He's worse than Biden.
Imagine, he's just not mentally or physically fit. But let me tell you, if they elect him in Pennsylvania, they deserve what they get because that guy's a disaster. He's a communist. He doesn't even dress up nice for anybody. He looks like a bum. He looks like a homeless person. I know that's his thing, but is he going to dress like that if he wins in the Senate chamber? I don't think so. They'll see him in a suit for the first time.
Cinema dress is weird for a senator. Maybe he'll.
Yeah, but I can't see a guy going. Who knows? But that to me is just
disrespectful.
Disrespectful, and they better not elect him, or they're going to be stuck with him for 6 years. They're going to be in trouble.
Well, we're going to be in trouble.
He's clearly not mentally fit.
We need a Republican vote there. But and I am not making fun of someone's health condition that's had a stroke. It's serious business. I'm not making fun of it. My stepfather had a severe stroke and was paralyzed. He's passed away since, but it's an awful thing. But not a doctor. Dr. Oz is a doctor, and he can render some observations of this. But when I saw Fetterman talk to these union thugs yesterday, and he's unable to put thoughts together. He looked like he was about to have a stroke there, and
he might have had another one.
It's obvious that he's going to have another one, something major. He's not doing well.
No, he's not doing well.
And
it's really selfish of him to run because he knows.
Yes.
He knows he's not doing well.
No, he knows.
You know when you're not doing
well. No, and last night. That low-life Brett Baer had Dr. Oz on, and you could see in Brett Baer's chubby face and over-cosmetic surgery eyelids. Guy had more. I've never seen someone that had so much cosmetic surgery on their eyes.
You should see his wife. She has a whole new face.
Yeah.
The thing with Brett Baer, and you're right, and I don't usually watch him, but I've watched him a few times.
You had it on TV last night for some reason. I'm like, what is this on for?
Yeah, and we didn't have our podcast up last night, so I just put it on to see because I was flipping through and I saw he had Dr. Oz on, and I don't normally watch his show, obviously because we do the podcast at 6, but ever since, you're right, he interviewed Carrie Lake and she humiliated him.
He humiliated himself.
He has gone full anti-Trump mode. And the questions he asked her and the questions he asked Dr. Oz had nothing to do with issues at all. They were stupid gotcha questions. Personal. Like he asked about the vegetables. He asked about him making fun of Fetterman for having, which he did not do. It was somebody on his staff made a comment that Fetterman should be eating vegetables and maybe whatever. He just asked him stupid things, and Oz kept saying, I want to talk about the issues. And Kari Lake had the same issue. These people in the news, they don't want to talk about the issues because they lose on the issues. They want to talk about all these other things that don't matter. And Fetterman keeps harping on the fact that Oz has mansions and all this stuff. That's a good thing. You don't want a guy that's successful. Oz said his parents came here; they were immigrants, and that they had a dirt floor in their house.
Yeah,
he should tell more stories like that and how he is the American dream, and he is.
So I didn't know that.
He should tell more about his background and his parents' background.
Now, I knew that Dr. Oz,
his humble beginnings.
I knew Dr. Oz was the child of immigrants, but I did not know they came here poor like that.
Exactly. He needs to talk more about that.
That they came here like middle class or some means. They came with nothing, and he's been very successful.
He's Ivy League educated.
Fetterman,
yeah.
Okay, this Bret Baier show last night was just god-awful. You can see the hate in his face because Oz is backed by
Bret
Trump.
Baier's horrible.
He's a monster.
He's going to go the way of Chris Wallace if he's not careful.
He's a terrible man.
You guys should not watch his show.
He is a very bad man. He's just a creep. I used to like him a long time ago, but he's a lowlife now. And what happened with Kari Lake, I'll talk about in a minute, because he humiliated himself with Kari Lake because he went on the air unprepared, but with a stupid position. But this Fetterman clip I played, this happened yesterday during the day, long before Bret Baier's show.
Yeah, he didn't play it.
And Bret Baier was aware of this. I had this audio yesterday, long before that, and he didn't get into that.
No.
And you know, if Bret Baier were a real journalist instead of some anti-Trumper party establishment hack, he almost said whore, which I guess is the same thing. Yeah, it pissed me off.
Can that apply to a man? Well, I guess, a political whore.
A man is a whoremonger.
A man whore.
A man, whoremonger is a male form of that. I don't know how I know that.
Whore.
I don't know how I know that, but I know it.
Well, you have all these people in the media and Fox News, and I've said this before, they feel that they helped Trump in the first election get in the White House. And they're like, we're going to be damned if we're going to help him again. That is not going to happen.
If Bret Baier were,
so believe me, they're not going to help him.
If Bret Baier were a real journalist instead of some hack, Trump-hating fool,
whore,
he would have played he played Fetterman clips, but it was Fetterman talking about the vegetable platter, which was like weeks ago, old news.
Well, Dr. Oz should know about that clip.
If he were doing his job properly, he would have played the news from yesterday of Fetterman with this stroke talk and asked Dr. Oz as a medical doctor to give his medical position or his medical opinion on the way that Fetterman was speaking. But he didn't do that. He went back to the vegetable platter. Now, I just say this about Bret Baier with Kari Lake. Bret Baier, I love Kari Lake, but it was Bret Baier who humiliated himself with Kari Lake. He asked her about this transgender drag show thing in school that she's against. And he had something, well, you went to a drag show, but you're against drag queens in school. And she pointed out, well, going to an adult place where there are drag queens or a drag show is a different thing than bringing these people into an elementary school and putting dollars in their thing. And I don't think it occurred to Bret Baier that there's a difference. That's like saying you're against anyone having alcohol because you don't want kids to have it. But we saw you at a bar, but you don't want little children in elementary school to have whiskey, but I saw you take a shot of whiskey at the bar. What, you're a hypocrite? Bret Baier, because he's so consumed with his Trump hate, it didn't compute in his mind the stupidity of what he was trying to expose Kari Lake on in his mind, and he felt stupid because he went on the air and did something stupid. And now he's just going to be a never Trumper for life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They all are at Fox.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you have a real shift in him and in Steve Doocy over the last few weeks. And it's gone from like just ignoring Trump to full on hate. And you can see it, like you said, in their eyes. If you can see Bret Baier's eyes, they're so tiny, but you can see it in their eyes and in their anger and the way they speak. And you can clearly tell there's an agenda. Now, I was telling you earlier that Politico, which is I need to find this article real quick. CNN, is making changes at the network. They just fired their White House correspondent who was there for a long, long time. I can't remember his name, but He's been fired, let go, he quit, whatever, and they're going to bring in new people. They are making clear changes. And what I think they have been planning this all along, and I think they just had to get other people lined up to fill in. Politico now says they have a new owner. Liberals panic. This is at foxnews.com. Liberals panic as new Politico owner aims to turn outlet nonpartisan. Looks like CNN has company. A profile Politico's new owner, Matthias Döpfner, so he's German, is having liberal critics sounding the alarm. Döpfner, the CEO of the German media company Axel Springer, was the subject of a lengthy piece in the Washington Post, which delved into his media business philosophy. He paid $1 billion for Politico in 2021.
$1 billion?
$1 billion.
Oh my goodness!
We want to prove that being nonpartisan is actually the more successful position. While the Post defined Döpfner's personal politics as a mystery, it says here that they're saying that they think he supports Trump.
This is huge.
That they said here, while the Post defined Döpfner's personal politics as a mystery, an email he had sent to close confidants weeks before the 2020 election signals support for Trump. That's interesting. Can you imagine if Politico now? But he's owned this company for a while. I wonder why this is all of a sudden. He's making this shift all of a sudden. It's 2 years later since he's owned this.
I don't know, but I'll tell you this about Politico, okay? Politico's worse than CNN.
Well,
Politico,
apparently they might change.
Politico is like MSNBC liberal, like that intellectual super snob liberal level. It's a whole nother level than even CNN's kind of like low class trash. And over on MSNBC, they're self-appointed intellectual elites.
Oh, yes.
And Politico is kind of in that group. They're on MSNBC all the time. And Politico is one of the Washington, like, go-to places of record. It's like what the Drudge Report used to be about, a long time ago. So if they get away from being liberal, that's a huge, huge blow. Now, I
wonder if you're going to see a trend now because you have CNN and now you have Politico. Are we going to start seeing a trend of news outlets getting more back to news and non-partisan?
But then again, we have like Fox News that goes liberal, so it's not really a gain.
Too.
It's like
it's risky.
One's canceling out the other. Now, yesterday in the chat room on my YouTube live stream, I asked people to tell me what their favorite MyPillow product is that they have, and not everybody has every MyPillow product on the website like we do. And people said different things, but the most common, this was amazing, the most common response was the 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper. And that was the most common response. And that's surprising to me. I was expecting the pillow because everyone has the MyPillow, which is great, right? And I was really surprised. And I want to thank you guys for that because Kathy and I have had our 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper for over a year. We've been talking about it, and that means a lot of you out there have taken our advice and recommendation on the 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper.
It really is.
And it is a life changer because, like I woke up at 2 a.m. today, but I set my alarm to get me up at 2 a.m. So I wake up when my alarm goes off. I never did that before. Even on the weekends, I'd always wake up early, hours earlier than I had to.
Well, you tossed and turned a lot more too.
And the 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper, which is the thickest mattress topper that Mike Lindell makes, right now it's being offered at the lowest price ever, which is 50% off with the promo code Kane at checkout.
That's
K-A-N-E.
really good.
That's a lot less than what we paid for ours.
That's a really good deal.
And let me tell you, okay, MyPillow, this special will end without notice. We're getting into that season now where the Christmas shopping season is going to begin. It begins earlier every year, right? But we're on the eve of the Christmas shopping season. And when that happens, I know every year at MyPillow.com, they update their specials. And I don't know what they're going to update their specials to. I don't know if this special, 50% off the 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper, I don't think it will be there for the Christmas shopping season, which is going to begin at any moment in time. So I would take advantage of this because this 50% off is the lowest price ever.
I've never seen it that low.
And I'm very confident that it will not be this low when they update for the Christmas season. Now, the 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper comes in every mattress size from twin all the way up to California and split king and every size in between. It's also great for the kids. Your kids need a good night's sleep that's well rested for school. It's great for the kids and the grandkids, and it's also great for the college kids for the dorm beds. So go to mypillow.com, use our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. Now, again, you can take advantage of all the specials you see there with our promo code, but this one in particular, take this advantage of this special while it is there, 50% off, but you've got to use our promo code Kane, Kane. Back right after this.
Now available on Amazon and the website vinapod.com/books/Ukrainian-Angels-English is a book for all the children caught up in the terror of war. Ukrainian Angels. Every day, the children see more terrible sights than they ever imagined before. Through poetry and art, Ukrainian Angels shares what they experience every single day. The hope is to share their stories for them in their own bright and gentle way. In order to help these children, we must take note and see what they are living through. To read their stories and remember their words is the least that we can all do. The drawings in Ukrainian Angels were made in low light, cramped space, underground, where it's dark and cold, by artists who want the world to take note of these stories the children have told. Ukrainian Angels is powerful and moving. Order your copy right now on Amazon and the website vinapod.com/books/Ukrainian-Angels-English for your copy of Ukrainian Angels. The book, Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, from author Judy Blume, was widely read in the 70s and 80s. It's about a young girl going through puberty, and the book was very popular. Author Jay Withering's new book, Are You Still There?, is a follow-up about Mrs. Blume's character now going through menopause. This is a midlife-inspired, honest memoir that meets reflective yet entertaining life situations of a 40-something woman who finds herself better and worse off than in her 20s. She goes by Peg now. She's older, wiser, and menopausal. With help from God, her friends, and a turtle named Fred, she's going to be just fine. Join Peg as she navigates real-life challenges of a middle-aged woman. This book is filled with reflections of vulnerability, anger, and a generous helping of humor. Are You Still There? From author Jay Withering is available on Amazon. Order your copy right now. There's a new podcast that you want to add to your podcast playlist, the Big Country Little City Podcast. It's a show with two guys from wildly different backgrounds who discuss politics, pop culture, and current events. The hosts were college roommates at West Virginia University. They played basketball together and are still friends, and they have a lot to say, too. Hosted by Big Tree Thomas and Norm DeStorm. Big Tree is from West Virginia. He's funny and all country. Norm DeStorm is from New York City. Their take is unique, thoughtful, and entertaining. The Big Country Little City Podcast is available on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon, and Google Podcast. Add the Big Country Little City Podcast to your playlist right now.
You are listening to the Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Now, I want to talk about, quickly here, this Ben Domenech, because this just blew my mind. This guy just out of the blue appeared on Fox News a few months back, and he was filling in. I can't remember if it was for Tucker or Jesse Waters' show. He was filling in for a week somewhere, and he's a very slow-talking, deep voice pontificator. He speaks very slowly because he wants you to hear every word and ponder on the brilliance. And I've known guys in radio like this. When we're on the air in radio, you have to wear headphones. I'm wearing headphones right now. You have to wear headphones. There are guys in radio that love hearing the sound of their voice in their headphones like no other sound in the world. It's very bizarre. That's what this Ben Domenech is like. And I've been wondering, who is this guy? Why all of a sudden is he on Fox News all the time? I've never heard of him, right? You know what I'm talking about. And I saw him attacking Trump and Trump supporters. And there's an article in Mediaite that I tweeted about this. Fox News contributor destroys, quote, Trump suckers, unquote.
Oh, that's another new name. But they
Trump
come up with a
suckers.
new name I don't get that one.
This is this guy.
New name every week.
This is this slow-talking guy.
Trump suckers.
Ben
what does that mean?
Domenech. He calls us Trump suckers. who won't admit that Trump totally botched the COVID pandemic. It's obvious, it's undeniable. Now, before I tell you about this guy, Donald Trump handled the COVID pandemic better than any other human on earth could have handled it. I want you to think about this now. We're in a complete economic wreck right now with this son of a crackhead who's addicted to hookers, right? Joe Biden running us into the ground. Prices are up. There's a supply chain problem. There's still a baby formula shortage.
Yeah, I mean, I check. My best friend her daughter just had a new baby a month ago, 6 weeks ago. Very cute. And we had sent them right before the second kind of wave of shortages, because for a while they had some. And then I thought, okay, they're bringing the baby formula, it's coming back. And then you came home and said, no, there's going to be a shortage, it's coming again. So I found out what kind of formula.
Yeah.
And we went and bought her a whole case, like 4 huge tubs, and sent it to her out in Utah.
Yeah.
That was a month ago. So she's got about a 3-month supply because her husband went out and got some. I have checked Walmart because it's a Walmart brand that she uses. And I have checked the Walmart website every day. It's still out of stock for the last month because I'm going to send her some and I just can't find it.
So this guy's calling us Trump suckers, say Trump botched the COVID pandemic. When the COVID pandemic was going on, the entire economy of the planet Earth was shut down. And we went without nothing. I mean, we had everything we wanted. There were no supply chain issues.
Was he specific, though? Like, what exactly, in his opinion, did Trump screw up?
He didn't get into it. But the Trump suckers that's a hateful thing to say. And it really caught me off guard because I've seen him on there, and I think he's a bore. I think he's in love with his own voice. But I've never heard him talk this way.
Because there's been a shift at Fox. They've put out the memo.
Yeah, well, this guy...
It's okay to bash Trump
That's
now.
exactly right. And this guy, I mean, this was just hate. You know, the entire economy of the planet is shut down. Prices were good. We had everything we wanted. Babies had food in the stores, right?
Yeah.
All these things. Trump did that. That's amazing. How he did it, I don't know. No one else could have done it. So I'm like, who is this guy? It pissed me off calling us Trump suckers.
Yeah.
So I just Googled his name, read his Wikipedia, and was shocked to learn that he's Meghan McCain's husband.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry. This guy should have to disclose that because he's obviously got a personal... the McCain family just got their butts whooped, okay, in Arizona.
Maybe that's where this tone has come from.
And this guy, I mean, my goodness, he should have to disclose this. And I'll tell you,
he sucks, by the way, on Fox.
He does, doesn't he?
Yeah, he
does suck.
The most boring person outside of Barack Obama and Harry Windsor. I think he's the most boring person on the planet.
Yeah, I mean, this guy, and he's there because he's Mr. Meghan McCain, and the McCains just got whipped by Kerry Lake in Arizona.
That's why he's
Liz Cheney just got destroyed.
Yep.
So he's out there doing his thing, and I'm a little surprised. Meghan McCain is not just famous; she is an heiress, right? I would have thought she'd have like a more handsome husband.
Well, she's probably difficult to live with.
You think?
And so, no matter how rich she is, after a few months, I'm sure she gets very tiresome. Any guy, everybody has their limits.
Meghan McCain and this slow talking as fast as Ben Shapiro talks, this guy talks the opposite.
He has been talking
slow.
faster, though. I've noticed because when he's on, it takes for his segments. He talks so slow; they don't have time. So I have noticed. The last time I saw him on there a couple weeks ago, I said, "Oh, this guy's starting to talk a little faster."
Yeah, we were watching that.
They've told him. Yeah. I guess they've put the memo out to all of Fox that they can let their Trump hate fly, their Trump flag hate fly, whatever you want to call it.
I think sometimes
there's been a shift at that network.
There's no mistaking where I'm coming from, right? I say on the air all the time, I will never disagree with Donald Trump, and I will never criticize Donald Trump.
How long do you think it will be?
Well, this guy should have to disclose his bias.
Have it under his name?
Well, I'm biased. I wear my Trump gear all the time. I am biased, and I'm telling you, I love President Trump, and he could do no wrong in my eyes. He's done no wrong, and he's the greatest. If you have married into the royal family of Trump hate, the McCains, I think that's relevant when you're out because they bring this guy on Fox to give analysis of the news and of the issues, and I think it's relevant. It's like if you're having a pundit on and they're giving their opinion on tobacco, if they work for Philip Morris, I think that's something that people should know, right? And that's what's going on here. And this is how bad Fox News is. Even the people you don't think are connected to this evil anti-Trump machine this jerk.
I think it's safe to say that 90% of the people in national media have deep swamp or rich family connections.
Yeah.
That's how they get in those positions. They all have those kinds of connections. I think it's safe to assume that.
But I'll tell you this, though. Less, you know what I wonder? I really wonder this, okay? Because John McCain, he had the brain cancer and lost his mind. Like when he went to the Senate to give the thumbs down vote like a lunatic.
That wasn't his cancer. That was just him being a jerk.
Yeah. I met John McCain once at the Republican convention many, many years before Trump came down the escalator. And he was pretty severely injured. He could not – I took a picture with him. And, you know, I take a picture of the guy, you put your arms around each other. He could not lift his arms up to put around me on my shoulder or anything. And that was, by the way, that his arm damage was not because of the torture. It was an injury from the crash.
Maybe.
Yeah, no, I know
but
so.
He wanted everybody to think it was the
Yeah,
torture.
if you ever see, there's because his father was an admiral, he was a high-profile capture, and you see film footage of John McCain right after his capture, and his arms are in that position, and I guess they healed kind of like in this box thing, and they were kind of stuck that way.
Well, they probably had his arms in a cast. In two casts, and they probably had that like where the pole comes
That's right.
out
It was one of those things right after the crash.
So the way his bones and muscles healed, he lost that mobility.
But I wonder this. I was thinking about this today when I was thinking about this Mr. Meghan McCain that we're talking about here, and you guys know who I'm talking about. So let me ask you guys this. Let us know in the comments what you think about this, okay? Because the McCains really are some of the leaders of the anti-Trump movement, okay? Because they're very well connected. They got a lot of money. They work hand in hand with a lot of other people, the Bushes, the Cheneys, et cetera. But I'm surprised that their tentacles are through this guy on Fox now. If President Trump...
I don't know why you're so surprised.
It blew me away.
He's married to Meghan McCain.
I did not know that till today.
They knew. And
they covered it up. Now, but let me ask you this, and I want to hear your comments in the comment section below the show. You out there listening, you can tell me what you think, Kathy. As active as the McCain family has been against President Trump all these years, would they be against him if President Trump did not make that joke? I like people that don't get captured.
No, I think Trump said. I'm not saying that he was wrong in saying these things, but he said a lot of things that upset people and publicly humiliated them. And in fact, I think if he had never said that, I don't think McCain would have flown from his deathbed to put his thumbs down. I think that was clearly, I think sometimes when you're a politician, you have to be a little smart with what you say. But a lot of people like Trump because he doesn't have a filter and he just says what's on his mind.
I thought it was awesome.
But the problem with that, sometimes you can make the argument, is that there's repercussions for that. But at the same time, people don't like him because he doesn't kiss the swamp's butt like everybody else does. He doesn't play that game. And obviously, it's worked well for him.
Yeah.
And I think people like his honesty.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, nobody liked John McCain anyway.
No.
I mean, we all thought he's like the ultimate rhino.
You know, I've got a T-shirt that says I like people that don't get captured. Okay, and I'm here to
we had that in our shop for a while.
I'm here to tell you this. Okay, that if President Trump had never said that, the McCains would still be after Trump because they're part of the establishment. They're part of the swamp. Yeah, but you know, John McCain.
I don't think it matters what Trump says at this point.
You know,
they hate him no matter what.
Let me tell you about John McCain, okay? When he was, I'm not going to get into the crash on the aircraft carrier where he got people burned and destroyed their lives. People know that. But he did one thing that people don't remember. When he was running against Obama, he was in a debate with Obama. I can't remember what the question was, but somebody asked a tough question of Obama, and he was on the ropes. And this was during a presidential debate with Obama and McCain. And John McCain came in and covered for Obama. Yeah. And I've never seen such a thing. I've never seen such a thing. I was done with John McCain after that. You know, I could put up with a lot, but defending Obama in a debate,
maybe
when he's debating him?
I think what happened is when he ran, he was I'm just guessing, when he was running and things, he had this momentum for a while and with Sarah Palin and all this. And then maybe people had come to him and said, do you really want to prevent the first black man from being president? Do you really want to go down in history as the man who stopped that from happening? Because Obama was like the first viable candidate for that position ever. And, I'm sure people had said that to him. Do you really want to be known in history as the man who stopped the first black president? And he probably didn't. And he probably rethought it and was like,
it's possible.
Maybe I don't want to win this because, I could see people saying that to him. Couldn't you in that world? Like, you're gonna make this guy lose. Not that he would have had a chance, because I think Obama had people so mesmerized, not us, of course, but people were so mesmerized. It was really unbelievable to me. I didn't get it, but, I think he would have won no matter what, because I remember you and I went to Miami one time. I had a doctor's appointment, and we were in the waiting room for this doctor, and this big, tall, white guy, do you remember this? Walks in, he's like 7 feet tall.
Yeah, he was like as big as Richie the bus driver.
Big belly, and he had this huge Obama shirt on.
That was disgusting.
And I just looked at you and I'm like, that is a weird look.
Yeah,
and
virtue signaling.
You said he wants everybody in the waiting room and everybody at the hospital to know that he's enlightened and that he's not a bigot.
That's right, virtue signaling.
Because he supports Barack Obama. And I think a lot of people voted for him for that reason, because they could say to people, I voted for the first black man, and I'm an enlightened person, and I'm not racist. And
I didn't vote for him.
They think had something to prove.
I guess I'm not enlightened.
So that's how the virtue signaling works.
That is how it works.
And they're trying to do that now. What they're trying to do unsuccessfully is they are trying desperately, more importantly than indicting Trump, it's more important to have the people turn on Trump.
Never going to happen.
Because as long as he has the support of the country, it's difficult for them to get past that and get past his influence. The reason he has so much influence in these primaries is because people are doing what he says, because the voters are voting for who he says to vote for. Mm-hmm. So they are desperate to get the people to turn. Mm-hmm. And this is what's happening at Fox. And you heard it with Steve sometimes because he watches Fox so much. You can see it working out in him where he's rethinking things. And then when you challenge him on it, he gets defensive. Oh, that's not what I mean.
Well, Fox is trying to program people.
Right. You can see it in Steve that they're changing his perspective a little bit to an anti-Trump, even though he might not realize it or argue with you at the time. And I'm sure he will still vote for Trump no matter what. But his perceptions are being changed, the way he's looking at things. And it's from a Fox point of view. Now you have to be careful.
A Fox point of view you do not want to have.
No. Yeah. Just have a Brian point of view.
That's right. A Trump point of view, MAGA point of view. Now I want to just thank all of our Patreon supporters for your support. Your support means a lot. It does help us out a lot. And if you would like to become a Patreon supporter, there is a link in the description of this and every episode. And all Patreon supporters have access to commercial-free editions of all of our podcast episodes. And our top Patreon supporters have their names listed in the description of the podcast episodes and all of my YouTube videos, including my morning live streams. So those of you that are top Patreon supporters, you'll see your names listed in the description of my YouTube live streams and my vlogs and everything as well. And our top Patreon supporters also get a live on-air thank you shout-out on each and every podcast episode. So the names you will hear now are our top Patreon supporters. I want to thank Andrew and Connie, Christine, Gary, ETW, Chuck, D, Pamela, Rick, Nick, Wesley, and Macho. You guys know Macho. He's in the chat room all the time on YouTube Live. And again, if you'd like to become a Patreon supporter, there's a link in the episode description. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We'll be right back.
There's a fine line between love and hate. Sometimes there's no line at all. Naya Kumari tells all in her autobiography, The Mind Games He Played, available online at kumariworld.com. The Mind Games He Played is about a relationship that will have many wondering, why doesn't she just leave him? Anyone who has felt trapped in such a relationship can empathize and learn from Naya's story. In her compelling story, the wrong guy sweeps her off her feet. She thinks he's only single because his wife passed away. However, she soon learns there are plenty of other reasons. Unfortunately, she doesn't learn them until after she has fallen head over heels. Order your copy of this must-read book, The Mind Games He Played, from author Naya Kumari. Available online at kumariworld.com. Even though you may be an introvert, you can still be a success. All you need is a little guidance. And that's what you will find in the book from author Charisse L. Allen, Comfortable in Business, available on Amazon. Comfortable in Business is a step-by-step book that focuses on being a female navigating through corporate America while being a reserved introvert. With an aspiration to succeed, training, and focus, you can develop a leadership skill set for success and move up to whatever position you desire. The loudest person in the room isn't always the most effective or successful. With Comfortable in Business, you will gain knowledge on what it takes to obtain the position of your dreams. What are you waiting for? Take that first step to the success you've been dreaming of and order your copy of Comfortable in Business from author Charisse L. Allen, available in Kindle and paperback on Amazon. From speaker and Christian writer Paula Biancalana comes the book Dominion, available online at paulabiancalana.com. Did you know we were all created to manifest God's kingdom government on earth? We are to have dominion over the earth and be fruitful and multiply, as well as engage in fellowship. By cooperating with God's plan, we can occupy our seat of authority and dominion over this earth God created for us. Author Paula Biancalana was commissioned by God to write this book. It's the author's prayer that with dominion, you meditate on the revelation, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that God has imparted to her. She knows that once you begin to read it and meditate on it, that it will be a great blessing to you. Order your copy of Dominion online at paulabiancalana.com. That's PaulaBiancalana. Make sure to check out her other books as well. paulabiancalana.com.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at briancraigshow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. So the Obamas went back to the White House to unveil their portraits. I can't wait. I haven't seen them yet.
Is his still the weird one in front of the bush? Hers is good. I see it from an art historian's eye. Hers is very good.
Does it look like her?
It's very good.
It looks like her? Then how can it be good?
I like it because the dress has like quilts to signify the Underground Railroad, which was by Republicans, by the way, which I thought was very clever.
Harriet Tubman was a Republican.
Yeah, but his is awful in front of the bush. It's ridiculous. I think there were two paintings, so I hope that's not the official because I don't get it. It's stupid. Why is he hiding in the bushes? It makes no sense.
Who's he waiting for in the bushes?
I don't. It's creepy, and I don't know what the artist was thinking.
Why do guys go in the bushes?
I really to take a leak. I mean, I really thought about it, when I first saw it, thinking, what is he trying to say here? I don't understand. Does it harken back to Africa because he's in nature and I don't know. In the bush, I don't know what the hell he's trying to say. Both artists were African Americans. I understand Michelle's painting, and I thought it was very well done.
I haven't seen them.
I appreciate that, but Barack Obama's was horrible.
I haven't seen hers.
I'm going to see if I can pull it up here.
So they had the unveiling ceremony today, and this is in the Gateway Pundit. Dr. Jill Biden humiliated her husband Joe for being the only person sitting during the standing ovation. Honestly, everybody stood but Joe, Jill Biden said rudely, pointing.
She hates him.
There were audible groans amid the applause. Then Joe Biden obediently stood up as people clapped like seals. Now, if you've noticed, Kathy and I were talking about this earlier today.
Oh, my gosh. Okay.
Well, let me finish, then we'll get to that. So Kathy and I were talking earlier today about this with Jill. And you really saw this with the event at Independence Hall. Jill Biden has taken over this caretaker role that they're trying to cover up with Joe Biden. And if you notice, anytime Joe comes out now, Jill walks him there and walks him back.
Did you see the video I put in your shorts where she walks up to him by the plane and moves him back a few inches?
Mm-hmm.
It was weird. And then she has this very annoyed look on her face and leaves.
Well, the reason that Jill is walking Joe 2 places and walking him away is because he doesn't know where he's at and why he's there. And she's walking him to and from just to keep him straight as to, he's familiar with her. He hasn't forgotten her, but he doesn't know where he's going and why he's going there. So she's walking him back and forth.
It reminds me of how my grandmother was with my grandfather because he had Alzheimer's and he depended on her very much for little things like that. Okay, I just looked at their official portraits. They are not the portraits we saw before.
No, they don't look good at all.
Hers is very weird.
Looks like I painted it.
She's like lounging on a chaise lounge, and it's like a portrait you'd see like in a hospital.
And she looks awful.
You have these rich people that put their portraits up in hospitals. His portrait is so bizarre. It's worse than the Bush. He's standing alone.
Looks like a photograph.
He's alone, and there is zero background.
It's white. The background's white.
It's all negative space.
I'll tell you why it's that one.
Background.
I got that one figured out.
Hold on. There is, okay, usually all presidential portraits, and I'm excited to see Trump's because it'll be really good.
Oh, yeah.
They have them in front of something, nature, a desk, something.
Office
except
stairs.
for the JFK, which is a weird portrait. I don't know if that was his official because he died early.
No, he died early, so.
That's not the official
he didn't
that he commissioned.
pose.
This is the most bizarre. This is more bizarre than the Bushes. There is no background at all. I have never, ever, ever, and I've seen a lot of portraits because I studied art history in school. I have never in my life seen a portrait like this.
Well, I'll tell you what it's about.
Completely white background.
I'm not an art person.
This is ridiculous.
But I do know a bit about the presidential portraits, and I've seen all of the famous ones in person. I don't think there's any of the famous ones I've not seen in person, and I have been to the White House, and they're all over the place, and I've been up close to them too. Many of the famous ones, including the famous one of President Lincoln and Teddy Roosevelt and all the rest, okay? And I've seen the first ladies too.
Well, what's your interpretation of this?
Is Barack Obama standing with a completely white background.
Yeah, I'm going to put it in your
The reason that they did this Instagram with Obama's is so that it stands out beyond the fact that he's the only black one, but it makes it stand out apart from any of the other portraits, so it will never for the rest of time blend in because it has a background like none other that's pure white and bright as opposed to all the other ones that have a dark background.
So you think it's a strictly aesthetic move?
It's an egomaniac move.
Well, I agree with you.
Look at me, no one else. Look at me. This is me.
And I'm going to add to that.
Yeah.
This is
Perfect Obama.
This is a portrait, definitely an ego thing. But this is a portrait, I promise you, the artist, because you have to, when you look at a painting, you have to figure out what the artist is thinking because it's their concept. When you look at this is a portrait where Obama is the star, like you said, but there is no background that can do him justice.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
He stands alone. That's what this is about. He stands alone. He's the only black president, and he stands alone with no background, no distraction, and he is all that matters. The background,
it's all about him.
You don't want any distraction from him. That is what this is about, that he is all that matters, and the background would only be a distraction from his brilliance. That's why there is no background, because you're not allowed to look at anything else but him.
Well, while there was a lot of butt-kissing of Obama today, I'm going to end on this, okay?
This is a horrible portrait.
It is. I'm going to end on this.
They're both bad.
And let me know in the comments if you got a legitimate answer to this. I have an answer, which I am going to give you. But what is one positive and major accomplishment from Obama's 8 years in office, other than he's the first African-American president? And there isn't any. He like Bill Clinton, a mediocre presidency of phoning it in with his feet up on the desk, right? If he were not the first black president, he would be forgotten worse than Clinton. He'd be like Millard Fillmore or Franklin Pierce or, you know what I mean? He really, can you think of anything, and we lived through it, Now, I'll tell you what I believe his greatest accomplishment is, and that's Donald Trump. You know, he was so bad and so left. The country moved to a much more conservative place, thankfully so, when Trump came down the escalator and won and beat Hillary, right? If Obama had not been president, Trump probably would not have run. Remember, President Trump got involved in the birth certificate issue and all of that stuff with Obama? But tell me in the comments if you can think of one major, the most major and positive accomplishment of Obama's presidency. If you can think of one, let me know in the comments.
And I'm going to put on your, just try to upload it to your Instagram. It didn't. I'll try again. I'm going to put this on your Instagram, these pictures, and the YouTube channel. Okay. And I want to get your guys' analysis. Now, try not to make snarky comments. Give me an honest appraisal or analysis of of these two paintings. If you walked into an art gallery, okay, they're on your Instagram now, and you saw these two portraits there, okay, what would you say, like your honest art critique? Okay, and if you agree with us, her portrait, like I said, and here it is.
Yeah, it looks like I did it. It's awful.
It's not very good. The other one is much better. And it looks honestly like those portraits you see at hospitals of rich women that spend a lot of money. Remember that at the Mount Sinai, you walk in, there's that huge portrait of that rich couple. This is what it reminds me of. She's just leaning on a couch. And again, with her, there's no background. She's on a couch with a pink background. There's no, I don't know. There's just nothing to it.
And the
really.
artist
is really weird.
It looks like an amateur high school artist.
And his is just. It's just awful. It looks like a photograph. Maybe it is. You're right. It's very it's hyper realism, and it's really weird because he is in the portrait, and you have this huge white background, and he's in the portrait, and he looks very small. Like he doesn't even take up the majority of the space. I mean, he's like really being smothered by this white background. It's really weird.
Yeah.
Really weird.
Remember his super spreader birthday party? Oh, that was great. All right, guys. Hey, listen, thanks for tuning in, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We will talk to you next time.
Jewelry makes you feel special, and personalized jewelry is even better. Exclusively on Etsy, the shop specially for you. That's the letter U and all one word on Etsy.com. Sell custom jewelry that's as unique as you are. The items that's specially for you on Etsy come with Chinese, Korean, Japanese, or English text. Whether you want a name on a bracelet, keychain, tie clip, a ring, necklace, and more. They have exactly what you were looking for. Specially for You works with two very talented designers, and their items are handmade in Seoul, South Korea. Ordering is easy. Just go to their shop, specially for you. It's all one word and the letter U on Etsy.com. Place your order, tell them the name you choose, your font, and your language. The items are top quality and shipped directly to you or the recipient of your choice. Everything in the shop looks great. You will be proud to wear and give as a gift jewelry from Specially for You on Etsy.com.